Okay. I want to do a YouTube video. I don't know what to say. Okay. I wanted to do a YouTube video about what I did after graduating cosmetology school. Because I think I want to do this video because I haven't looked online to see if anybody else has done this type of video, but I know when I graduated from beauty school, when I was in beauty school, I didn't know where I was gonna go to work. Like, I went there because that's what I was desired to do at the time. And so I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna go. And then I was like, damn, like, where am I gonna work? And the only real salons that I really knew were the salons in the hood, Dominican hair salons. So I'm like, I don't work in the Dominican hair salon, but I really didn't know where I was gonna go. So I'm just gonna say my journey and my suggestions and my advice I have for anybody who is thinking about going to cosmetology school, or is graduating, or is almost graduating and not really sure how the path is gonna go for them. So I graduated from Hair Design Institute. It's in Brooklyn, New York. I graduated in 2015. I wish I could put my phone up. My arms get tired. I graduated 2015. And then I went part-time. I was working at Nike at the time. So I was doing retail and I was going to school. And then I graduated. I started working when I graduated. I started working at We Dot Curly Hair Salon in Midtown Manhattan. While I was working there, I got my they give you your temporary license when you graduate. So I have my temporary license. I need to get my license, and I was so scared. My coworker and my friend at the time took me to get it. And license, it was so easy. The test was so easy because cosmetology school pretty much teaches you how to take the test. I've always heard, and then after graduating, I see how true it is that you're gonna really learn about hair when you're in the salon. Like, you're not really gonna learn about the things you truly want to learn about in cosmetology school. For one, a lot of the teachers are not young and up to date with a lot of the trends. So if you do have educators who know about the trends, they can teach you. That's really great. But a lot of times they don't really. The older women teaching classes, and they have to get through the textbook. So the textbook is just teaching the basics and how to pass the state board. So you take the state board. It was easy if you pay attention in class, and I barely went to class. Like, it was me and another friend of mine, and we were just like never in school because the school I went to wasn't as like uptight. So I was going to work, or I was staying home, and I was working at night. So it was like, I'm gonna go to class today. Well, I already know what we're gonna talk about. Whatever. I wish I went more, but at the time I was like, I'm not gonna really go. So I didn't really go that much, because at the end of it, you have to make 1,000 hours. By the end of it, I had to stay more. So it was so stupid. But I graduated, took state board. I got my state board license in June of 2016. So I had it for 4 years now, my license. So I've been working in hair salons for 4 years. I would say on and off. I started working with kids and arts and crafts and stuff, but that's another passion of mine. So I never really got too far away from it because I only did that for a few months. But I started working at We Dot. I worked there for 2 years, and I was an apprentice. That's how you usually start. That's how you want to start. You don't want to graduate cosmetology school. And unless you've been doing hair before years and you know what you're doing and you just need your license to legitimize your business. But if you are literally like learning everything new and want to get your feet in the business and industry, you should really be an apprentice. It teaches you, outside of it teaching you about hair, it teaches you about professionalism. It teaches you about it teaches you where you want to be. It teaches you how to work with different stylists, different clients, because you're working with everyone. You're not just the stylist and the client. And a lot of times stylists are just talking to their client and not really interacting with other stylists or management. When you're an apprentice, you're talking to everyone. You're talking to everybody's client, every stylist, every person in the management team. You talk to everybody. So it's really important to be an apprentice if you have the opportunity and the time. A lot of places don't pay well for apprentice. Tips are always good, but you don't really pay that well to be an apprentice. Working at We Dot, it was a really good job I had. I learned, that's where I first learned. I didn't even know about the company, and I really didn't know about naturally curly hair being a big thing. And at that time, I think a client's about to come in here. At that time, she just want to see what I was doing. Nosy bitch. At that time, I would say like a customer, but I had started to grow out my natural hair in 2013. So and at that time it wasn't like popping. Like the natural hair care industry now is huge. Before it wasn't that big. So when I started going to the working in We Dot and stuff, I started to like learn the product and learn the cutting, learn the styling. So that was really interesting. I loved that job. That was a great job. But over time, like you start to understand and start to like understand yourself and what type of environment you want to be in as a hairstylist. You start to learn, like, working at certain spaces, I didn't want to wear all black, and I didn't want to wear slacks and classy ass shoes. That wasn't my style, as we can see. So I knew I didn't want to be there long term. I'm thinking about these things of like, even though it's a small thing, it's kind of like, you know, what space do I genuinely want to be in over time? So, you know, aside from, you know, different stylists, the clientele that you're gonna end up manifesting in the spaces that you are in and the location that you're at, the management, everything. So I decided to leave there. I started to work at, I'm just gonna list the places that I worked at. Then I worked at Diva Curl for about, I worked at Diva Curl, then I left and then went back. So over that, it was like about a year put together of me working there, and I loved it there. I just loved walking in there and smelling it. It was so good. The location is Soho. That was a great job. But you know, you know, you work as an apprentice, and at some point you want to be a stylist, and you know, things get a little foggy here and there, and more refining of the things that you want, more refining of your desires and who you are, and growing into what hair care you wanted. At that time, I knew I was going to do naturally curly hair. Like, I knew, working at We Dot and in my hair, and seeing, you know, this is where a lot of the black girls are that I relate to. I'm an artist and I paint, so this is where it crosses over. My paintings, the people who buy my paintings, and the people whose hair I do, it crosses over a lot. So I'm like, I like this industry a lot, but now it was finding a place to go and work and not being stuck as an apprentice. Because there are some apprentices I know who have been working as an apprentice assistant for 5-6 years, and that is not, I'm sorry, that's not healthy. Depending on where you are. I worked at Rita Hazan hair salon, and she's Beyonce's colorist, and that was like a different energy, like completely different energy. Their assistants there worked there for about 3-4 years, but they were working with some top people. Like she had her own assistant who was working with her one-on-one, who was there for like 4 or 5 years. But you're learning from Rita Hazan. Like, if you can get, you know what I mean, like, if I'm gonna just work for somebody who's, not to say like regular, but just a regular person working in a hair salon, I'm not gonna be assistant for 5 years. That's crazy. But if you're working for somebody like, you know, a big celebrity stylist, sometimes you might want to put that time in with them and, you know, work with them like that. It depends on how you see it. Me, you know, depending on the space, like, I couldn't be at Diva Curl for 5 years as an assistant, but I saw how it made sense at Rita Hazan. So I wasn't at Rita Hazan for long. I didn't like it there at all. I picked up, like, I'm really quick at picking up energy and, you know, like the vibe of a place, like the flow and the skill. So I picked up doing a blow dry really fast there. I picked up doing keratin. I picked up the energy of like someone who's working for a big name celebrity like Beyonce. I look up to Beyonce. So I'm like, I picked up so much of that energy so fast working there for like a month. And I'm like, I can't be here no more. They had you wearing headpieces like at a hair salon with a microphone. It's not McDonald's. Like, it just felt mad weird. So I left there. That was a good experience. I really enjoyed working there. I met some cool people there. And then I went to, what else? Where else did I work? I worked at Dry Bar for a few months. That was a wonderful time. And Dry Bar to me is like, you know, you come and go. You're not gonna stay there forever. Like, it's a quick blow dry place. The money is good for what it is for the time that you're there. I'm creating my own schedule. I used to go into work high all the time. I used to just be blowing out hair, just be chilling all day, go get myself a pizza and break. And it was in meatpacking, so I would walk down to the Union Square, hang out with the folks in the Union Square, and just be chilling. Like, just be chilling. I was chilling the whole time I was working there. It was the summertime too. I was chilling. But after a while, I was like, okay, bitch, grow up. So I had to leave there. And then I started working at a Black-owned salon in Brooklyn. That was a wonderful experience. And I saw myself being there for longer. But things started to change and transform. And so I was like, okay, like I have to... Now I felt like I was working as an apprentice, and at Dry Bar was the only place where I was like a lead stylist, where it was just me and the client, which is so interesting to me. But... And I was taking, you know, models, and I was still doing friends' hair and, you know, here and there. And then at Diva Curl, I was making my own schedule of bringing models in too. So I was training my own self. Like, that was one of the things too. And that's one thing I would advise anybody who's going to beauty school, is that salons are gonna tell you what they want you to do. They're gonna try to form you into being someone that looks good for their business, and to and mold you into that. And that's fine, because if you find a place that you really like, there's a lot of places, especially in New York City, that you can be molded into the imagery of that salon, and it's perfect for you. That's good. But don't lose yourself doing that. You can really lose yourself trying to be something you're not, just to appease the people around you. And so I felt that they were doing that to me in certain places, but I was always me. I could never, you know, bend and mold to what people wanted me to be. And I felt a lot of management in a lot of different places didn't really like that. I created my own schedule all the time. And as I started to work more, me creating my own schedule was more important to me. Me being able to move around was more important. I knew I'm a good employee. I'm a good assistant. I take work very seriously, because I know what I put in is what I'm going to get out. I know that me putting this effort in here with you is going to lead me to a better place. It's going to lead me to my own place. It's going to lead me to my own schedule. It's going to lead me to my own clientele. And so I always appreciated where I worked, and I always worked hard and well. But when I left the Black-owned salon, Time Studio in Brooklyn, at that point I was like, I have to do this by myself. Like, I have to work at my own schedule, my own pace, and I have to be able to put this on my back. Like, I have to find clients for me. I have to, you know, fly into these own brands that I like, into this own industry that I like. I can't be working for someone in the sense of like apprentice anymore. I've been doing it for 4 years. And you see how, like, in my mind, like, being in one place for 4 years, that to me is stuck to me. Being able to fly all these different places, I take so much pride in what I know. Me working at Diva, me working at We Dodd, knowing wet cutting and dry cutting, knowing how to blow dry somebody's hair in 20 minutes, knowing how to curl their hair in 10 minutes so it could be really cute, knowing how to do quick braids. Like, that stuff it matters. Being able to do quick things and be able to, especially for the industry that I want to maintain to be in natural hair care, being able to cut hair wet and dry is phenomenal. Being able to work with different types of product, and just for me working with myself and, you know, taking chances on my hair, having friends who trust me to do their hair, those things are important. So me doing this over time, over the 4 years I've been graduated cosmetology school, I would have never imagined, you know, the life that I've created now. Now I work in White Plains, a few days out of the week. And I have my own chair. I'm here right now by myself. I have more responsibility. I have my opportunity to call and manifest clients to me. I made my own schedule, and I work with Diva Curl as a curl coach, and I've created my own schedule. I get to work with them and work tightly with Diva the other half of the week. And so to me, this is like ideal for the changes that are happening in my life. This is ideal for me. And if it wasn't for me, maintaining my apprenticeships and me being just open to learning, that's it. Like, I never was like, oh man, this is like, my life is gonna fall apart, I'm gonna leave this line. I always was like, if I'm ready to go, I'm gonna go. Like, if I had a lot of plans of staying at certain places longer and being with certain companies longer. But at a certain point, it was just like, you know what? Like, this doesn't really feel like a home to me, and I need to go out and do a little bit more. And if I need to come back, I will. But if not, then I'm going to just keep going forward. And every time I left and went somewhere new, it was always for something better. Every time it was just something like better, learning something new, bettering myself, and just redesigning or redefining what I wanted for my life and for my career. So I feel very proud. I do. And so that's probably the biggest advice I have, is to don't be afraid to keep falling and flying. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the salon to get the things that you want. If you want to take classes, let your management know. Pay for it for yourself. If you want to bring people in to do their hair, create that time for you. Tell the management, tell anybody on the team if you're in the salon. Some people do, freelancing and things like that. But I would say in the salon, because that's what I know the most. Tell people what you want and know what you want, and don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I changed my mind. Like, I have these plans here, but things are changing for me, and I know, like, ultimately what the bigger goal is, and I have to follow that. Don't be afraid. Because ultimately it's you. It falls on you. Like, being an apprentice is nice. You're always going to have money, because as long as the stylist has clients, you're always going to be able to work with them. And you're always going to have that money. But if that stylist don't have clients, what are you going to do? And that was more important to me, is that, okay, at this point, after working with myself and, knowing what I know and taking time for me and working with you stylists and learning from you guys and taking the classes when I had the opportunity, now I have to actually do it myself. Like, I can't sit behind y'all and depend on y'all to give me a check. I have to be able to make this check by myself. That's important. Trust yourself. Trust that you know what you're doing. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Just keep practicing. Everything's always practice. Every client that you have is not practice in the sense of like, oh, you know. But if you trust that you can do it, trust yourself, every time you're going to learn something new. And, making the mistakes is good too, because you could always go back and redefine your work and trust that they come back to you. Always be honest to your clients. Always be fair, and always be, diplomatic and right, to people. And just be good and trust yourself and have fun. That's all it is. And you will end up where you need to be as long as you follow your heart, yourself, your desires. But there's a lot of space in this industry for a lot of people, for a lot of different things too. And I find that specializing in something, it creates a narrow path for you to follow. And people can find you based off of this. There are stylists who only, like to promote themselves as balayage stylists and curly hairstylists and, keratin and blowout. And, everyone has their thing that they like. It's no shame in being specialized, just doing that one thing, or just, maintaining specific things that you do. It just makes it so that people come to you for that specific thing. That's all. But, find your way, find your path, find the openings. Have fun, that's it.